Poor Dick, you dared to hit me? Okay, you hit me so well. I'm going to put you in the hospital today, and then I'm going to smash your car. Lao Tzu will see how you will explain to the owner of this car when the time comes. Lao Tzu just wants to play you to death completely. Chen Fei Gong reached out and rubbed the left side of his face that was hit by my fist, spit bloody spit on the ground, and he picked up the baseball bat and rushed towards me. At this time, Mu Xia hurriedly went to pull Chen Fei Gong in order to persuade the fight, but Chen Fei Gong kicked Mu Xia to the ground, and she fell directly into the rain. Fuck off. Don't think that if Lao Tzu likes you, you have the capital of pride. You dare to take care of this, Lao Tzu will clean up with you. Chen Fei Gong scolded Mu Xia, who fell in the rain, and rushed towards me with a baseball bat with a red face. At this time, Chen Fei Gong was in a state of madness, and no one could persuade him. He's a mad dog now, and he's not going to stop until he me to the ground. I glanced worriedly at Mu Xia on the ground, then at the baseball bat that had been smashed down on my head, and I hurriedly lowered my head and quickly dodged to the left. The baseball bat in Chen Fei Gong's hand smashed into the roof of the Mercedes-Benz with a bang, smashing a concave on the edge of the roof. Bed bug, you weren't very awesome just now, don't you hide if you have a temper. Chen Fei Gong scolded fiercely, picked up the baseball bat and smashed it down on me. I thought to myself that you have a weapon in your hand, and I am empty-handed. I'd be stupid if I didn't. I didn't have to go toe-to-toe with him at this point. I was looking for an opportunity to snatch the baseball bat from his hand. As long as he doesn't have a weapon in his hand, then I definitely won't be hiding, and I dare to fight him with my bare hands. But now, I'm at a disadvantage and can only keep dodging. I hurriedly pulled the car door, and he smashed it against the door with a stick, and I rushed inside. He grabbed a baseball bat and tried to get into the car to clean me up, and when he was halfway in, I saw my chance and kicked him in the face. He cursed, and subconsciously wanted to reach out and rub his face. I took the opportunity and grabbed the baseball bat in his hand and kicked him in the face. After kicking a few times, he couldn't stand it anymore and let go of his hand and went out of the car. As soon as I grabbed the baseball bat and kicked it at the door slammed his body back, and he took 2 steps back in the rain. I rushed out of the car, grabbed a baseball bat and smashed it into his head. Now that the situation has reversed, I am really not afraid of him with my bare hands. Now that I have a weapon in my hand, I can't be afraid of him. He dodged the bat I threw at his head, and I grabbed the bat again and swept it directly into his thigh. A stick hit him on the thigh, he screamed in pain, and his left leg fell directly to the ground. I seized the opportunity and hit him on the head with a stick, and he hit him the head before falling to the ground. Seeing him fall on the rain-soaked ground, I picked up the baseball bat in my hand with red eyes and smashed it into his body. When I used to be in college and shared a dormitory with him, he bullied me everywhere, embarrassed me everywhere, and targeted me everywhere because his family had money. When I participated in Chao Genoa's wedding before, he didn't make it difficult for me, and now I have a chance to take revenge, so I naturally can't spare him easily. I don't want to make trouble, but if someone else provokes me, then I will make him pay a heavy price. This is what Uncle Hua taught me: don't bear it when you are beaten and wronged. If you don't dare to fight back after being bullied, it's no different from a wreck. But before the baseball bat in my hand smashed down on Chen Fei Gong on the ground, Mu Xia hurriedly grabbed me. She shook her head at me violently and told me not to fight. If Chen Fei Gong was injured, then his father would not let me go. I was persuaded by her, and I calmed down a lot. I pointed at Chen Fei Gong lying on the ground with a baseball bat, and said in a cold tone, "I want you to apologize to me and Mu Xia. As long as you tell us sorry and promise not to trouble us in the future, then I will let you go." Chen Fei Gong's father's name is Chen Million, and he is a well-known bully in this county-level city. Chen Million's subordinates not only have a trading company, but also have a myriad of relationships with the Taoists. It is rumored that Chen Million made a fortune by going black in his early years, and later, due to our country's crackdown, Chen Million was whitewashed in advance, and the money he earned from mixing black money was used to open a trading company, and he began to do normal business from then on. Although I have Uncle Hua behind me to support me, I don't want to make this matter too big. After all, Uncle Hua is tired enough to deal with the company's affairs. If you want to wipe my ass, then I'm really ignorant. But I must ask Chen Fei Gong to apologize to me. After all, he caused this incident. Again, I don't cause trouble, but I'm not afraid of it. If he wants to play, then I'll play with him to the end. After all, I'm just a young man in my early 20s, and I still have the blood in my body that we should have at our age. Qian Feigang slowly supported the ground with his hands and wanted to get up. He looked up and glared at me. I said that your mother is a force. Let me apologize to the son of a drug dealer. Lao Tsuming told you that it was impossible. You're a bedbug in my eyes, and you'll always be a poor dick that I look down on. With red eyes, I kicked Qian Feigang in the lower abdomen and kicked him out, and he was kicked by me and rolled around on the rain-soaked ground a few times before stopping. Zhang Yuan, don't fight, you can't afford to mess with him now. Mu Xia took my arm and said to me very anxiously. I glanced at her, ignored her, walked over directly and stepped on Qian Feigang's face with my foot, and said with a fierce face, apologize to me and Mu Xia, and say sorry to us. Qian Feigang glared at me with very angry eyes, but he still didn't say a word. He's usually used to being high, and I'm just a poor dick with no money in his eyes. The difference in status gives him a sense of superiority that goes deep into his heart, so no matter what I say, it's impossible for him to apologize to my dick. Don't apologize, do you? I'll make you regret it. I stomped my left foot on his face, raised the baseball bat I was holding in my hand with a fierce expression, and hit him with a stick on his left leg. Qian Feigang immediately roared in pain like a pig. I raised my left foot that stepped on his face. He hurriedly curled up, holding his left leg with both hands and screaming in pain. Mu Xia hurriedly came over and said to me anxiously, Zhang Yuan, you have made a big mistake. His rich and powerful father will definitely not let you go. You run, get out of this city quickly, quickly. Looking at Mu Xia with an anxious face, I threw the baseball bat in my hand to the ground with a faint smile on my face. I don't know why, I didn't feel like I had a big disaster at this time, but I felt that there was a very heavy burden in my heart that I had let go. In the past, I was very weak. No matter how Qian Feigang bullied me, insulted me, or beat me, I gritted my teeth and endured it, not daring to resist, let alone retaliate against them. And now that I'm in action, I've dried up the money and steel to the ground. I feel like a man at this time, and I live with dignity at this time. I'm Loki, but I don't want to cause trouble. I want to live a peaceful life. But if you think I'm cowardly, think I'm afraid, think I'm bullying me and I don't dare to fight back, then you're wrong. After all, everyone is human, and since you want to get me, then I'm not afraid to kill you. Since you take my tolerance of you for granted, then I will tell you with my fist that I am not easy to bully. In a word, I won't mess with you. Don't think you'll be able to bully me at will. If you treat me like a soft persimmon pinched casually, let you lie on the ground and have a long memory. It's okay, I'll figure out how to solve this matter myself. You go in quickly, otherwise you should catch a cold. I glanced at Qian Feigang, who was sore into a dead shrimp on the ground, and said to Mu Xia with a faint smile. Mu Xia looked at me and sighed helplessly. She took out her mobile phone and called 120 to call an ambulance. She said on the phone that it was an accident, saying that we were just passing by and saw someone lying on the ground, and asked them to come and save people. And Mu Xia also asked me to go with her to her place. I drove the car into the community, sat in the car and watched the ambulance tow Qian Feigang away, and then we got out of the car and went into the community building. This is a house rented by Mu Xia, which is not big, with one bedroom and one living room. However, it was very clean and tidy inside, and there was a faint fragrance floating in the whole room. I have to say that Mu Xia is very beautiful, and she is quite good at tidying up. You go inside and take a shower, I'm going to get you a bathrobe to change into. Mu Xia said and went into the room to find me a bathrobe, and at this time, her whole body was also wet, and the perfect body curve was clearly visible under the cover of the wet clothes. She is tall and straight, with a slender waist, coupled with that pretty cheek. She deserved the title of class flower at that time. But she and I have changed. Now she is no longer the class girl who was surrounded by many boys in the university, and I am not the Zhang Yuan who was bullied by everyone around me and didn't dare to fight back. Therefore, when evaluating a person, you should never only look at his current situation, and you should not give up on yourself and look down on yourself. Maybe it's just that the personal opportunity has not arrived. After all, no one can say for sure what the future holds. I have the most say in this. I was looked down upon by everyone at the beginning, and I was ridiculed by everyone as the son of a drug dealer, and I was sneered at by others wherever I went. But now I don't stand above them anymore. Maybe you really answered that sentence. As long as you don't give up, then you hope for the future. I went into the toilet wet all over my body, and the toilet was very clean by Musia, and all kinds of cosmetics and toiletries were placed in an orderly manner by her. And there is a faint incense in the toilet, like the smell of some kind of shampoo. I took off my clothes and looked at the bruise on my shoulder in the mirror. I couldn't help but raise my left hand, and a sharp pain came from my shoulder, making me grin in pain. The fight really hurts others and hurts myself. If it weren't for the money and steel to provoke trouble this time, according to my character, I definitely wouldn't have done it. However, this fight with Qian Fei Gang also made me understand one thing, that is, my previous concession is not the best way to solve the problem. Instead of sympathy, they think that I am a bully, and they will bully me even more. Looking at myself in the mirror, I clenched my fists and told myself that I would not back down in the future. If they dare to bully me, then I will use my fist to tell them that I am not a soft persimmon that they can bully if they want to. I turned on the sprinkler head, stood under the shower head and took a hot shower. After rushing for about 10 minutes, Musia's voice sounded from outside, "Zhang Yuan, have you washed up? I have prepared a bathrobe for you. Alright, you can hand it to me at the door." I shouted outside, and then hurriedly looked around for a handkerchief to wipe my body. But on the shelf next to the washstand, there were only 3 handkerchiefs of various colors, and they were all Musia's, and I didn't know which one to use for a while, and it seemed that which one was not very suitable. But Musia urged me outside, so I took a random handkerchief and wiped my body. There is a faint fragrance on the handkerchief, and it smells very pleasant. That's right, Zhang Yuan. Don't use the yellow handkerchief against the wall, that's what I use to wipe my feet. Listening to Musia's voice outside, I immediately took the handkerchief in my hand and glanced at the other 2 handkerchiefs on the shelf. I immediately had a black line on my face, because the handkerchief in my hand was not the one she was talking about. I wordlessly put the handkerchief in my hand back on the shelf, then walked over and opened the toilet door. I hid my body behind me and reached out to take in the bathrobe that Musia reached out to hand over, and then closed the door and changed it on my body. This bathrobe should have been used by Musia, because there was a faint fragrance on it. I walked out in my bathrobe and found that Musia had changed her clothes. At this time, she was wearing a long purple dress, and her long wet hair was draped over her shoulders, and she was really beautiful at this time. "There's ginger soup on the table that I've prepared for you, and you can drink a little to get rid of the chill on your body," she said to me from the couch. I nodded, walked over and picked up the ginger soup on the table and drank it. "Zhang Yuan, you better leave this city quickly. You injured Qian Fei Gang, his father will definitely not let you go easily. You'll only have to get out of here safely. Musia is still worried about me hurting Qian Fei Gang." Seeing that she cared so much about me, my heart suddenly warmed, warmer than drinking ginger soup in my hand. I held the bowl in my hand and smiled and said to him, "You don't have to worry about Qian Fei Gang's dad taking revenge on me. I am now the driver of the boss of China Resources, and Qian Fei Gang smashed my boss's car, and my boss will definitely come forward to take care of this matter. At that time, even the rich father of Qian Fei Gang will have to sell my boss a face. But it's you girl, when the money is ready, he will definitely find you trouble." When Musia saw me say this, she couldn't help but frown, and her face couldn't help but show a worried and scared expression. Seeing that she was so afraid of Qian Fei Gang, I couldn't help but wonder if she really had anything to do with Qian Fei Gang before. "You've really been with him before?" I couldn't help but finally ask. As soon as I asked, she said to me a little angrily, "Zhang Yuan, even you think so about me? Do you think I'm Musia like that?" Looking at her angry look, she seemed to be telling the truth. She really didn't seem to be with Qian Fei Gang before. "Then what was the matter with him, and why did he damage your reputation like this?" I asked again. Musia looked at me, and finally sighed and said, "He was indeed chasing me before. At that time, I couldn't find a job anywhere and was not in a good mood. At that time, he not only comforted me every day, but also recommended me to go to his father's company to do finance. At that time, I thought that he was very good. He treated me well when he was in school, and he helped me everywhere when I went out of society, and I did think carefully about whether to be with him at that time, but then I heard in his dad's company that he was engaged to someone else and that he would be married in a few months. After that, I turned him down to his face and quit his job and left his dad's company. Maybe I hurt his self-esteem, and he went around talking about how I was with him, and I started to get angry. I also went to him, but he is that kind of person, and I dare not offend him. Anyway, I haven't had a boyfriend since I was so old, and everyone who has a good relationship with me knows who I am, and I won't listen to his nonsense casually, so I don't care. It turns out that this is the case. According to Qian Feigan's personality, he really did this kind of thing to slander. But when I heard Musia say that she didn't have a boyfriend, I was still very happy in my heart. I don't mind what my crush is, but it's a different feeling to hear her say it herself. Then let's do it. I'll pick you up from work tomorrow, with me. Even if Qian Feigan wants to take revenge on you, I can help you. I thought of a good way to say to her. She looked at me and said with some consideration for me, "Don't you have to pick up your boss to work every day? And others are very good, they don't blame me. That's it, I'll pick you up from tomorrow. I call the shots." Musia hesitated for a moment, then stared at me again. "If you really don't bother you, you can come and pick me up." Seeing that she agreed, I was very happy in my heart. My brother, who has had a crush experience, may be able to understand the joy in my heart at this time. The woman who used to be high in her heart and arrogant like a holy goddess can finally get along with her at close range. I guess I would have been excited for a long time before, because it's something I've always dreamed about. And now that I have finally got my wish, it is a blessing for me. Musia went in and used the washing machine to dry my wet clothes, and then ironed me with an iron. Looking at Musia, who helped me iron my clothes, I suddenly felt at home. Maybe that's what I want, a plain but happy life. After changing my clothes and going downstairs, I looked at the unseemly Mercedes-Benz that had been smashed by Qian Feigan, and my eyes became a little cloudy. I drove to China Resources Company, and as soon as I arrived at the company, I met Uncle Hua, who was coming out of the company. He looked at the smashed Mercedes and walked up to me and asked me what had happened. I told Uncle Hua the reason for the whole thing. "Are you hurt?" Uncle Hua asked me with concern. Looking at Uncle Hua, who cared about me, my heart was warm, and I shook my head. I was hit with a stick on my arm, and nothing else. Uncle Hua sat in the car and hurriedly asked me to show his shoulders. I reluctantly pulled off the clothes on my shoulders, and a bruise appeared from my swollen shoulders. Uncle Hua's face was a little gloomy, and he said, "It's all swollen. You drive Uncle's car to the hospital to take medicine first. You don't care about the rest, Uncle will take care of this matter." As he spoke, he pulled out the keys to another Mercedes and handed it to me. "Uncle, Qian Feigan's father is a million. He will definitely find me to seek justice for his son and blackmail our medical expenses," I said to Uncle Hua with some concern. "It's good that my son beat my nephew's shoulders like this, and smashed the car I just bought for you. If he dares to come to find trouble, then Uncle will help you get justice. My Bai Hua's nephew is not something that anyone can bully if he wants to." Uncle Hua said to me with an angry look on his face and a sharp look in his eyes, "Xiao Yuan, you don't have to worry about this matter, Uncle will support you. You go to the hospital to take medicine first, don't come to pick me up at night, I'll go back by myself. You go home early and have a good rest." I haven't seen Uncle Hua so angry for so long. He has always been good-tempered and polite to everyone in my impression. But now I'm so angry because I've been bullied. It was also at this time that I learned that I was Uncle Hua's rebel, and he didn't allow anyone to bully me. Some people may want to say that Uncle Hua and I are not related by blood. Why does he care about me so much? He has no selfishness at all. He really doesn't have this. Uncle Hua really cares about me. He has been playing the role of a real uncle for the past 2 years, and he has been very good to me. In his words, this is the relationship between men. My dad took him as his own brother, and he put all his gratitude to my dad on me. He will definitely fulfill his promise to my dad and keep me safe for the rest of my life. I took the car keys and drove Uncle Hua's Mercedes out and went to the hospital. I simply applied some anti-inflammatory drugs in the hospital, and I drove home. This house was bought for me by Uncle Hua, and I don't live with him. According to him, I am an adult now, and it is not appropriate for him to find a daughter-in-law to live in the future, and it is not suitable for him to live with an old man. Although Uncle Hua is only in his early 40s now. And Uncle Hua also has a suite of his own, and I often go to Uncle Hua's side when I'm fine. Because Uncle Hua is very good at cooking, every time I go, I eat and drink together. Then he would also teach me some fighting skills, so that I could suffer less when I had conflicts with others. After resting for the night, I drove Uncle Hua to the company early in the morning and then went to pick up Musia. Today is my first day to pick her up from work, and I don't want to miss the appointment. But the accident still happened. As soon as I took Musia out of the community, I was blocked by several fierce and vicious men. They were all very strong, their necks and arms were painted dragons and tigers, and they were dressed as social bastards. Musia looked at them and was immediately a little scared, although I was also a little timid in my heart, but I still stood in front of Musia. As soon as I saw them, they were not good, and they were probably the subordinates of Qian Million, who came for me to pay money and steal. "Come with us, our boss wants to see you," a big man standing in the middle said to us coldly. Musia hid behind me, and pulled my sleeve tightly in fear, and she whispered to me not to go. I patted her hand holding my sleeve tightly, and then forced her to say calmly, "It's okay, you go to the car and wait for me first, I'll be fine." Musia looked at me worriedly, she slowly let go of her hand, and then whispered to me, "Don't be afraid, I'll call the police immediately. As long as the police come, they won't dare to do anything to you." I smiled faintly and nodded to her, and followed the big men in front of me and walked forward. After walking a few hundred meters, I saw a black Audi parked in front of me, and a middle-aged man was sitting in the back, holding a pair of iron balls in his hands. His appearance is almost similar to Qian Feigong's appearance, and he thinks he is Qian Feigong's rich father who has millions of dollars. I was taken to the side of the Audi by them, and a big man said respectfully to the middle-aged man in the car, "Boss, someone brought it." He played with the iron ball in his hand, sat in the car and stared at me. His whole body is very aura, and his eyes are as sharp as a knife. He didn't speak, but I felt oppressed when he stared at me like that. However, in the past 2 years, I have followed Uncle Hua and met a lot of people with status, each of whom is as aura as Qian Million. So I'm not surprised by that now. "Young man, you were the one who put my son in the hospital, right?" he said to me, looking at me with some reproach. I looked at him and said in a slightly respectful tone, "Uncle, I think you should first understand the cause and effect of the conflict between me and Qian Feigong. I'm not a troublemaker, but Qian Feigong did go too far yesterday, and he did it first. If he hadn't been stirring things up, I wouldn't have had that kind of conflict with him. After all, he is an elder, and it is okay for me to respect him a little. It's really not a big fuss for a little conflict between children. My son's head was slightly concussed by you, and his left leg was broken by you, and he had to lie in the hospital for a long time to recover. Tell me how to deal with this." Although he said it very plainly, it completely revealed that he wanted to get his son back on the field. I said, "Uncle, what should I do if I smashed my boss's car and hit my shoulder like this?" As I spoke, I pulled some of the clothes off my shoulders to reveal the gauze tied inside. He glanced at it, a sneering expression on his face. "Your life is worthless in my eyes. As for Boss Hua's car, I will go and tell him in person. Now I want an explanation. You put my son in the hospital, and this matter can't just be settled. In this way, if you break my son's left leg, then I will also break one of your left legs, so that it will be evened." After he finished speaking, my face changed directly, and the 2 big men in the back directly strangled my arm. I immediately struggled desperately, but they were much bigger than I could fight, and they had so much strength that I couldn't break free. "It's just a driver, and he dared to hit my son. Break his left leg." Qian Million looked at me coldly and said. My face was full of anger, and I struggled to start struggling, but they still pressed directly to the ground, and then they pressed me to death. I didn't expect Qian Million to be so unreasonable, but now I know that Qian Feigong's arrogance was all learned from Qian Million. I struggled with my red eyes, but I couldn't break free. A big man with a baseball bat stood next to me. And my left leg was also grabbed by a big man. Qian Million sat in the car with a calm face, playing with the 2 iron balls in his hands, thinking of breaking other people's legs. He had done a lot before. And at this time I also experienced a kind of despair, and at this time I also knew that my life was worthless in the eyes of powerful people like them. The big man holding the baseball bat directly picked up the baseball bat in his hand, and my eyes suddenly widened, and I couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat, thinking that I was really finished this time. But before the baseball bat he picked up fell, Qian Million spoke, "Okay, let him go." The 2 big men who grabbed me hurriedly let go of me, and I immediately got up from the ground, looking at the money millions sitting in the car with some puzzled eyes. "Young man, I'm just going to scare you this time. Boss Hua has already contacted me, and he said that he will come to me to talk about this matter, so that I don't want to trouble you. But after all, you are the son who injured my Qian million. If I don't teach you a lesson, then outsiders still think that my Qian family is easy to bully. In the future, you should keep your eyes bright, see your own position, and don't shoot at anyone. Otherwise, next time, it won't be as simple as scaring you. After Qian Million finished speaking calmly, the Audi car started directly and drove out to the front. The few big men around me also left. Looking at the Audi in the distance, I gritted my teeth in anger and clenched my fists tightly. Millions of money and steel, I will definitely double this humiliation to you. And this incident also caused a lot of waves in my silent heart.